Hello everybody, my name is Louis and this is going to be the first of something that I have been wanting to do for a while now. I've been doing YouTube for like 10 years now, just randomly posting videos, and I've wanted to do something consistent but can't think of a subject to really post into, and so I thought, why not do what most people are doing now, and that's podcasts where they just talk about random things. But I want to do it in kind of like a journal format, in that I can look back at these things and say, hey, what did I think here, what did I think there? And so if you find anything interesting in these or in the passions that I have, make sure to subscribe, because I will stay on some of these talking points, and I can elaborate more on these if you guys are interested. Let me just introduce myself a little bit. My name is Louis. I'm 20 years old, and something about me that not many people realize is that I have lived all around the world. I was born in the UK, lived there for about 5 years, moved to the US after that, traveled around, lived in Florida, New York, Missouri, and then I lived 3 years in India, and India was crazy. A lot of people travel in these Western countries where English is the first language, where if you need help, you just go on Apple Maps or call someone, they'll help you out. But when I moved to India, those resources were not always available. That was crazy compared to other countries, in that you can't communicate with everyone. Not everyone speaks English. The internet there was terrible, let me tell you that. That was the first thing that was like a shock after living my whole life, having data basically everywhere I go. Yeah, it's a very different life. You have to kind of live in your own deserted location in your house, and when you're going outside of that, you're not really interacting as much as you could in a country like this. A comedian that I actually used to watch, Brian Callen, was born in Pakistan. He gave his insight on that, and he said very similar things. His dad was a diplomat, and he would have to travel around, and there are good things that come out of it. Like you do learn how to get to know people quicker and kind of find those people that you do bond with quite easily, because you have to do it so many times. You have to introduce yourself. You have to learn how to get people to like you faster. It's getting a little hot, so let's show off another skill of mine, being yoked. So I am a student here in Orlando right now. I moved to Orlando after living in India for 3 years. I've been here for 4 years now, and life's great here. I did my last couple of years at high school here. Nothing to complain about. I will say that the US high school education, compared to how it was in India, I went to a private school in India. They were doing IGCSE and IB. It's so much easier here in the US. And I know Florida has like some of the worst education in the US, but comparing Florida to India, wow. I was a scholar here, whereas over there I was the scrum, the bottom of the bottom. But yeah, so I'm a college student now. I'm a junior. I have worked in all kinds of jobs. Not many jobs, but when I say all kinds, I mean like completely different kind of jobs. I did a year at Nike retail, so I was cashier. Retail is boring. It's the same thing for everyone. Everyone has the same stories. And then I did some work as a garbage man. Now, not many of you guys know about this. The reason I chose this job is because the hours are, ideal for a student. I go there at 6, come out at 2, or so I thought. But turns out when you're a trash man, your day ain't done until you're done with the trash. And so I had days that I was working 12 hours, almost 13 hours. It's hard work. And not only that, being a garbage man is a job chosen by many felons, because they're allowed to work there, and it pays pretty good if you're a driver. So I can't officially say if the people I was working with were felons or not, but I was getting called all kind of names. I was getting butchered and battered on the back of that truck. Because when you're a garbage man, at least for me, you hang on the back of the truck, they're going 35, 45, and you see a trash can, you get off, you throw it, put it back down, and you keep doing that. It's such hard work. You get sore. I work out, I've done boxing. That's much harder than any of those workouts. It's murder. And after I did that, I actually washed trucks for a couple months, because that was not for me. I did it for a month being a garbage man, and that was too much for me. So yeah, that was my blue collar experience, and I think I'm done with blue collar jobs unless there's some real good pay there. Um, as to things I'm passionate about or kind of like life interests, um, so I go to the University of Central Florida, and I'm majoring in clinical psychology. I I didn't really know this until really my freshman year of college, when it came to what I was really trying to pursue in life. But throughout, as I was growing up, I've always been someone that I feel has like a deeper understanding of people's minds. Like I kind of can read body language, and I feel that I'm a very understanding person, and I'm very tolerant, I would say, with other people. Where they would, some people, you know, are yelled at, they get emotional and they outlash, whereas I'm very like mellow. I don't really get emotional from other people's things. Like what other people say can't really harm me, and so because of that, other people feel that and they don't get as defensive as well. So I can kind of have those deeper conversations with people, and I've seen that I just enjoy having deep conversations and finding out the root problems of um, certain behaviors of people. And I didn't realize that until I was looking into specific majors and I started taking psychology classes. But psychology is super fascinating. You look at things like, I mean, the most basic disorder that a lot of psychology majors are kind of passionate about is schizophrenia, which is super fascinating. Like, could you imagine having this disorder? For those of you who don't know, you have, without being interfered with drugs, you can have hallucinations. Most of them are audio, but you can see visual hallucinations as well, and that's without any drugs in your head. Your brain makes these hallucinations, and that's something really fascinating. I'd love to interview these people. I've actually had the privilege of talking to someone with DID, and for those of you who don't know what that is, that's dissociative identity disorder, and that's when, I don't know if you've seen the movie Split, where people have all these personalities in their head, and there's different kinds, but the type that the person I was speaking to had, she doesn't know when they switch, and they switch without her control. So 1 second she may be, I don't know, Gerald, for example, who is a calm, collected, speaking man. Another time she may be Jill, who is very shy, laid back, or she could be Bill, an angry man who screams at you, who's not very conversational. But with her case, she was born legally blind, but she found that one of her identities, or I wish I remember the name. They have another word for like the character or identity that starts with A, but whatever. That's something you guys will learn as I make more of these. I'm forgetful. Alters. So people with DID call their different characters alters, which just means different characters that they have. But one of her alters was actually could see. So she was born blind, but when she changed into this other character, she could see, and that's shocking. But she didn't find out she had DID till she was 42, after her therapist finally made these alters comfortable enough to kind of open up to her. And so that's something fascinating as well. Imagine having a disorder where your brain's changing people and you don't realize until you're 42. Like, that must be such a relief, finally realizing what's going on and getting the right therapy for that to kind of make it better. But yeah, I've been really fascinated with DID, and I've only just started learning about it. I'm in my third year of college, so I just take a psychopathology class, which if you guys are in college and you have electives, or if you are a psychology major, you're of course going to take that. That is such an interesting class, just so you can get an insight into what specific disorders are and what they entail. Because even for me, like I go into different majors and I look at interesting things. I took like agriculture classes in high school, and I found that half that information I still remember. Just, it's good to generally know things to seem intelligent, or to feel intelligent as well. As for my career path or what I hope to do, I've been kind of split on whether I should go down the medical route, or get like a PhD to become a clinical psychologist. And there's pros and cons to both, to be honest. For me, I feel like I'm going more towards getting that PhD and becoming a clinical psychologist, for the sheer reason that my professor, who has a PhD, was telling me that on average psychiatrists see their patients for about 15 minutes. And I'm not passionate about prescribing medicine. I don't, I'll be honest, I'm not doing this because I want to make people feel better or whatever. I'm doing it because I'm so fascinated about how the human mind works. I just want to talk to these people so I get a better understanding as well. Because it's one thing to read it in a book and understand, hey, this is what entails this disorder and this is how you treat it. But to see it with your own eyes and to talk to someone who's experiencing these things is a whole nother kind of way to learn. And I just want to hear all these stories. If I didn't have to become a psychologist to get this kind of one-on-one conversation with them, I'd do that as well. But you know, who knows what the future entails. So the real difference pro to becoming a psychiatrist is the starting wage here is like $225 in comparison to the PhD where it's 90 grand. So it's a big difference in pay. However, I think it's smarter to choose what you're more interested rather than what pays better. Although they're similar fields, but that's where my head's at right now in terms of my passion in psychology and where I'm kind of heading with that. And if anyone knows anyone, or if any of you have any disorders, to be honest, if you go to a therapist and you have even depression, anxiety, any dissociative disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, honestly, any disorders, I'd like to just talk to you guys. You can comment down below, or I don't know if there's a message on YouTube anymore. Comment down below some other social and we can talk in there. Maybe set up a way we can do a guest part in the next podcast if anyone's interested. Of course, this is number one, so I doubt anyone's watching this. This is also something for me to just look back on. Another thing I spend a lot of time on is social medias. My Instagram explore page is basically all fighting. I'm super into the UFC and boxing. I boxed a little bit when I was in India. I probably did it for, I want to say, a year and a half or so. And then I did it for another 2-3 years. In total, about 4 years total, training in boxing. It's something I still watch. I love the sport of boxing. I think if you guys are kind of at a younger stage of your life and you haven't found a sport that you're particularly good at, or that you know, you have fun doing, I would definitely say go check out some combat sports gyms. There's jiu-jitsu, there's boxing, there's MMA, even taekwondo. I don't really think that's with these group of three, but Muay Thai is another one that's with that group, where it's like a real efficient martial art where you can really tell the difference in skill and you compete with everyone. You know, you know where you're at, and you know that if I keep doing this for 6 months, I'm gonna see so much progress, because you will, trust me, with martial arts, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, like I said, that big group of four, when you do those things, you grow really fast in those, and I think you learn a lot of good skills, whether mentally or not mentally, I should say, whether psychologically or physically, you are learning skills that will stick with you. You know, dedication, consistency, resilience is a big one. I think people forget to question their own resilience. Resilience is something that you guys need to train. It's not something everyone's born with. And so if you're someone, well, first let me define resilience is continuing to push forward against conflict, against losing per se. You know, when you're not doing very good at something and you still choose to keep trying, that's resilience. And so I think resilience is really the key trait in successful people becoming successful, because you know, you hear a lot of people saying it, losing is only a lesson, and without these lessons you can't really get to that top tier of success, or success in business, or whatever it is you want to do. You have to fail and lose in order to get to there. If that wasn't the case, I mean, there's people who get lucky, of course, but if that wasn't the case, most people wouldn't be successful. As I was saying, UFC boxing, last weekend we had Sean Strickland go against a unranked, a Magomedov, one of those guys. from that sector of the world. That was a really good fight. I like Sean Strickland's style. He's primarily a boxer with good takedown defense because he was a wrestler. I'm super into the UFC, so if you guys are into that as well, comment down and tell me some fights you guys are looking forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to the rematch with Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. It's going to be a sick throwdown. I'm looking forward to Jan Blachowicz fighting against our Brazilian Alex Pereira. That's going to be a fire fight. I think for that fight, it's so hard because Jan has gotten older now and we don't really know what Jan's coming out. But I think I would have to go with Jan Blachowicz because if he did it to Izzy, I would say that Alex's takedown defense is not as good, so he'll probably get taken down as well. But also Alex has crazy left hook power, so that's a really good setup fight from the UFC, and I'm really looking forward to that one. This Chandler McGregor drama doesn't look like it's happening this year, so no news on that front. On the boxing scene, I'm looking forward to a lot of things as well. We have just announced Canelo Alvarez against one of the Charlo brothers. I couldn't tell you which one, to be honest. I don't watch many of their fights, but that is a fight I'm really looking forward to. We haven't really seen Canelo. His last fight, I think, was Triple G. That was the third fight, so I wasn't really too excited for that. But yeah, man, that's a really good fight to look forward to. I hope AJ's Anthony Joshua is one of my favorite fighters. He's coming off of 2 losses against Usyk. I hope he comes back at some point this year. I just love the way AJ fights. I love his personality. I know sometimes he kind of has a darker, angrier side, but it's really interesting to see what he's been through and how he's made it to the top. And he started boxing at 18 as well, so it's not like he's one of these young prospects who's been doing it their whole life. He shows a lot of resilience, as I was saying, and I think that's something that attracts me to certain fighters, those who haven't had the most fortunate entrance into their sports but still make it to the highest level. I have lots of stories if you guys want to hear about my sparring experiences. I've never had fights, but lots of sparring. I've been to a few gyms here in the US. I had a trainer back in India. So any questions about boxing or UFC, comment them and I'll make some more content on that or talk about it in next week's video. I'm going to try to do these every week. I know it's kind of all over the place this time, but like I said, it's kind of a journal as well. So although this one may not get many views, I hope that down the road, we can start getting something rolling because no matter what, we all have free time. And if once a week in my free time, I do something like this for 20 or whatever, however long. I thought to end all the podcasts, I would put like a random topic that may be interesting. Also, I just want to show off the tattoo. I've almost had it for a year now. That's Caballito, horsey. That's my first and only tattoo. Any questions on that experience, let me know and I'll let you guys in on the experience. Right, random topic as of right now. I feel like something that has changed, especially in the 5 years, is how sensitive Americans have become, or people living in America have become, to political parties nowadays. I feel like we are way too sensitive. And I'm not saying, a lot of people say liberals are very sensitive and conservatives are very aggressive right now. I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying people are choosing their sides and they're just conflicting. There's no agreement among people right now. And I think it's so silly, and I think it looks so stupid when we have Facebook chats and, there's these neighborhood apps and people are commenting, if you support this guy, don't bother talking to me, don't come near me, don't hang out with my friends. Like, people, you can believe in your politics, you can vote for your politics, but arguing with people who don't believe with you, not debating, to be clear, arguing with people that don't believe with you, that don't believe in the same things you believe in, it's so childish. Like, grow up. In order to really find this middle ground, we do have to come together and understand each other. And that can't happen only through debates. If you really do want what's best for the country and what's best or the closest way to get what you want, you have to merge with these people. You have to talk with these people. You have to understand where they're coming from and they understand where you're coming from. And that will slowly over time change how people think, what they think. And that's how it's meant to be. The way we've just completely split, it's foolish, to be honest. And I know I'm 20, so again, this might be funny looking back at when I'm 25, 30, 35, whatever. And maybe I'm one of those people, or maybe I was right. You know, this is what I believe right now. So I'm speaking of what I believe, but I think that if people, of course, do your voting. Of course, if you think something's controversial, coming from a politician or the government, whatever, post on your socials talking about it. But to kind of segregate yourself or other parties from yourself and your party, it's childish, like I said, and it's kind of irrational. You as people in a first world country, we have to keep developing and we have to keep evolving as a nation and as a people, right? We have to be the lead of the world, the head of the world. We have to have the rest of the world follow us because we're so ahead. That's what we want. We want to be the most modern, right? We don't live in countries like the Middle East or some places in the Middle East, like most Asian countries, where we're 30 years behind. Like you look at India now compared to here, they're just 30 years. They're 1990 with electronics of today, of course, but the way the government works and all that. I think we just need to settle down, stop making your political beliefs your like personality trait, you know? Express it and let it go. Get along with people, because at the end of the day, you don't know when you're gonna need the people around you, right? And if you're always someone who's gonna be full of conflict and full of hate in a way, you're not gonna get that. And karma's a big thing too, whether you believe in it or not. Just do the right thing. It's the golden rule as well. Treat people how you want to be treated. And I think if we just act more positive, it's gonna start building a cycle. And hey, what have we turned into here? A motivational talk. That was my random topic for today's episode. Again, I'm Louis. If you have any interest or have any questions, please subscribe. I'm trying to make it in this field. If not, I'm trying to have some cool videos for me to watch when I'm older. But thank you for watching. Bearded Addiction, out.